Hi everyone, welcome to week 3. This week we're going to start talking about how to support children with physical impairments and also how to support children with specific health needs. So the first thing I want you to see is, of course, our week 3 overview and checklist. If you go inside of this link, you're going to see the chart with all of the assignments that you have to do for the week, as well as the point value and any due dates and the checklist to just mark off that you've completed it. What I'd like to show you here is, although there's not a specific assignment attached to this page, I would like you to take a look, because if you open it up, you're going to see that there are a few videos here that I used to use in class when we were in person, and it was really wonderful to be able to go over each one and kind of discuss what we were seeing. But instead, I don't have an activity or an assignment attached to this, but I would like you to take a look at these videos if you have interest in working with infants and toddlers with physical needs, or if you have interest in how to identify physical delays in infants and young children. It would be really beneficial to check out these videos. So I have these here as a resource for you, but again, there is no assignment attached to it. The next activity I have for you is your Play, Pause It lecture quiz that is on physical impairment, but we also talk a little bit about health impairment within the lecture as well. I've also uploaded the corresponding PowerPoint for you, just in case it helps for you to also have that available to you while you are studying, or just to support your memory of what you learned within the quiz. The next thing I have for you are some really great resources and some actual fine and gross motor activities that you can apply with the children that you are working with or that you will be working with in the future. So you'll see two videos here. One is working on fine and gross motor skills, and looking at how to extend activities through fine and gross motor skills. The second video, this is another activity I used to really like doing in class, but since we are not in person anymore, I have to resort to using some support videos. So it is amazing what you can do with a yoga ball. So I hope that these are helpful support videos, and what you end up with are takeaway activities that you can already start using to support young children. So your goal for this assignment is, once you've read each of the videos, there's specific assignments for each video. So for the first video, what you're going to do is first write the activity that you see. So the first activity is, for example, the balance beam. Then you're going to tell me, what skill does that specific activity address? And so, for example, it would be, it promotes coordination, it promotes core strength. I want you to be specific in what you are seeing and what you're hearing being described. Then I want you to tell me how you would extend this activity. So how do you make it more difficult, more challenging? And then, are there any alternatives to the activity? So how can you do it differently? How can you support a child who might not be at that level yet, and maybe some balance activities? So for each of the activities, you're going to follow those different prompts. For the second video, I just want you to name and describe each activity done on the ball. So the more specific you are with this assignment, the more I can see your understanding of why these activities are being done and how they're supporting fine and gross motor skills. Okay, your next activity. Good old Flipgrid again. So what I'd like you to do for this activity, you can have one of two choices. So the first choice that you can make is you can select any manipulative you might have at your disposal. You can use a puzzle, you could use a pegboard, you can even use a tool that is not necessarily a toy, like crayons or markers or scissors. And what you're going to do is you're going to tell me how you would adapt it. So how would you change the tool or the toy? What could you add to it? What could you take away from it? How could you make it so that a child who is having difficulty with their fine motor skills would be able to still use it independently and effectively? Adaptation is an important part of this course, and so I want to see kind of where you're at with how to look for different ways to change tools that you already have. So that's one option. Your second option is you could think about more gross motor skills and think, how could you devise a game using balls that's suitable for preschoolers, so 4 to 5 year olds, and that would allow a child in a wheelchair to fully and actively participate. Now, I don't expect you to reinvent the wheel. So if you are feeling stuck with this and you're just not feeling very creative, I am all for you using Pinterest or using an OT or a PT blog. I just want you to not only know when to be creative, but also when to reach out for resources and where to find resources. So that is this activity. You're going to, again, not have to purchase anything. You don't need the tool to be able to tell me how you would adapt it. You can just explain it to me. If you want to print out a picture and explain how you would adapt it or how that game would work with the ball, then that is perfectly fine. I don't expect you to go out and purchase anything. So for your initial post, you're going to just tell me what you've created or what you've thought about as far as adaptations. And for your responses to 2 classmates, you're just going to comment on their creation. So did they think of something that you hadn't thought about, or did you think of similar activities? So you're going to respond to 2 of your classmates. Okay. And for Flipgrid, it'll be right within your assignment, so you don't have to go anywhere external. Your discussion for this week is actually about how to support a child who's experiencing a medical crisis within your classroom. In order to support you in answering this week's discussion post, I have a couple of resources that you're going to need to watch and read before you respond. So this is a 1-hour presentation, but it is extremely helpful, especially when it comes to creating an individualized health plan. And so if this is the first time that you're hearing about an individualized health plan, this is a wonderful support for you. There's also this other great resource as far as how to support children who need medical treatment in your classroom. So after watching the video and reading the article, I want you to first, in a paragraph, summarize both of these. So 1 paragraph for both. And then I want you to consider one of the medical needs that was discussed in the video, or one that maybe wasn't discussed in the video. And I want you to consider what you would do in a crisis situation. So I gave you some examples here of what I mean by a health crisis, but if you want to just use something outside of my examples or outside of the video, you can as well. So here is the prompt here, and I would like you to answer this question. And again, don't forget your summary, and then you're going to respond to 2 other classmates. Okay. And that is all for this week. There's your closing statement. And so not too heavy of a week, but really great information. So I hope you enjoy another fantastic week, and I hope you all are taking care of yourselves.